Good day to you. My name is Bodo Gedeyangga, and today I will present my paper entitled Indonesian EFL Learners' Attitude Toward American and British Accents of English. Well, let's start. Okay, from first one is the introduction of the study. For the background of the research, there are three. First one is students' problem in learning English. It is believed that English learning takes less priority in Indonesia due to the already having two or more languages. This would mean that they take less to no interest in learning English, resulting in the belief that English would be difficult to learn. Now, the second one is English presence in Indonesia. According to Katsu's 1990s three-circle model, Indonesia is within the expanding circle where English is primarily used as a foreign language and have little to no use in social. Uh, the three models are the inner circle, where English is used as the first or second language, the outer circle, where English is used as the second, primarily as a second language, and then comes to the expanding circle, where Indonesia is at, which use English as the foreign language. Third, the last background of the research is the English language presently. Now, English has become the primary lingua franca preferred by native and non-native alike as mean of international communication. Now, if Indonesian students lack interest in exposure to English, this would mean that they they now have the problem to contribute to future generation of Indonesian students where not having comprehension and familiarity of English would prove to be detrimental to them to catch up with other parts of world's communication skills. Now moving on to the actual research question of the present research. This research have four. The first one is, do Indonesian learners prefer RP, in this case, received pronunciation, or British English, or GA accent, or General American accent? Research question number two is, do Indonesian learners rate RP British English and GAE General American English differently on status and solidarity traits? If so, to what extent? Research question number three, does familiarity and comprehension of specific accents play a role in learners' preferences? And finally, number four, research question number four, does cognitive response uh, affect learners' motivation towards specific accents of English? Now, for the aim of the research, this study would investigate Indonesian universities' students of English language attitudes through a listening comprehension test to measure their attitude of multiple Englishes or accents, in this case, General American accents and British English. Now, for the significance of the study, the importance of learning language attitude would contribute to precious understanding into English status, which aids students to define their motivation, goals, and accent preferences. That's the first one. The second one is for the researcher, and the result of this research would contribute to research in determining Indonesian students' language attitude and their motivation behind that attitude. Now, for the last one is for the teachers or the lecturers alike. The result will also collaborate breakthroughs of possible new teaching method for teachers alike in modifying and choosing the best suitable auditorial materials for the student studying process within the part of their school curriculum. And let's move to the next segment, the review of the literature. I have four and a point for the literature review. And the first one is English accents in Indonesia. Although less compared to other countries in inner and outer circle, both American English and British English has seen tremendous presence in Indonesian students' English study material, both from schools and English courses, and have been the easiest to comprehend according to many Indonesian studies. Now, this has led the dominance of both British English and General American English as the main benchmark of how English as a foreign language is learned and are used to be the standardized test in many Asian countries, including Indonesia. Now, an acceptable English from student perspective in this which accents studies attitude is strongly based on a native ideology, which suggests that language learners should aim to correct their pronunciation to conform to a standard model. Now, in the attitude toward English accent, there are two listed previous research. The first one is from FAN 2020, and FUN 2020 conducted a study about Vietnamese university students' attitude toward distinguishing two different English accents, namely, again, British and American English. And in the study, also in the Magni 2019, in a study of London where they proposed a similar idea, wherein the study provided several samples of English accented speech, namely Chinese English, French English, American English, and British English, listening skill of Indonesian students. Now, for the last one, I have provided you a summarization of what Indonesian EFL students in their listening skill is. Now, Putri et al. 2018 summarized the listening mastery in Indonesian university as different to each other, varying. For instance, in terms of listening skill, Al Masyaraf 2015 found that listening ability of State University in Surabaya is good enough, while in Riau University, listening ability of Riau University student is still low according to Risanti et al. 2016. Now for the research method of the present study. The research design and sample selection are adopted from FUN 2020 to examine Indonesian university students' attitude toward accented English, native accented English. Quantitative research is employed to both manage the number of students that will be taken as data and to better have a result based on the variables so that numbers data could be analyzed and using statistical procedures, that is. And to examine this attitude toward the British English and the American English, a verbal guide technique was adopted from FUN 2020 to provide a better foundation for the conclusion about the accent. An online survey including a 5-point Likert scales yes to no question will be included along with a short open-ended question and is also adopted from FUN 2020. Convenient sampling method is employed to recruit respondents since it is easier and more effective than other methods to conduct and is very inexpensive according to Act of 1953. Now for the data collection, the collection will be consisting in two segments. These two segments are the first one is the containing participant view of speakers' 12 traits, the 8 status traits and 4 solidarity traits. And these participant preferences, which accent they prefer more than the other. This also includes participant familiarity toward each accent and finally participants' guesses of where each speakers are from. The second segment contains question of learners' demographic information such as their study, which of variety of English they learn in school, and how long they have been studying the language. For the data analysis, the data collected will be analyzed using SPSS application. All the result will be going first through a coding conversion before the analysis. Data from the Likert scale from completely agree to disagree 1 to 5 will be converted into a number 1 to 5. Participants' gender will be converted to 1 as male and 2 as female for statistical purposes. For a question that would have uh, 1 to 3 possible answers from yes, no, or don't know, that will be converted into a number from 1 to 3. And to find significant differences of both accents, a t-test was conducted in order to compare the mean scores of all attributes of both accents. And again, To check whether there is a significant gender value, the gender will be numerized into 1 to 2. Now, this analyzed data will be converted into a line graph or a pie graph for further discussion. Now, for the result and discussion, the result of the paired sample t-test suggests that there is a significant differences in mean score between the two speakers. The final score shows ranging traits, mean scores between JAE and BE, General American and British status score, on the term of solidarity score, but albeit with a very similar mean. Overall, GAE still is rated more positively compared to BE with a mean score of 4.14, sorry, and compared to the BE with a mean score of 4.11. The figure in this presentation shows all investigated response from the respondents, and the result of each trait varies, meaning they have a variety of different results within each of these traits. While the overall mean scores of GAE still overlaps mean scores of by tiny bit from the BE, British English, it should be noted that there are some drastic score differences in traits. Uh, but overall, fluency on both GAE and BE is rated the highest among other traits with means 4.59 and 4.43 respectively. This belief of relating L1 speakers of English, meaning that the native of English, which is the American and the British, with fluency traits, could prove that to be the main reason for the respondents respond in scoring both GAE and BE speakers this high within the research. GAE scores the lowest in authoritativeness, while BE scores the lowest in friendliness. This means that the respondents show their relation to each speaker as GAE, General American English, as more friendly, while British English as more authoritative. Now, on the table 4.2, the table provides a numerical differentiation on how status and solidarity traits are perceived differently according to each accent. On status traits, which is often associated with nobility and prestige, BE scores slightly higher than DE with mean of 4.19 compared to the mean score of GAE in 4.17. On the other hand, in terms of solidarity traits, which is often associated with friendliness and casualty, GAE scores higher than BE with a mean score of 4.6 compared to 3.94 of BE. This result shows inconsistency with FARM 2020, where it was shown that status and solidarity traits are connected to each other and showed a sign of dominance or favoritism toward the certain accent, only one accent. In Carey 2017, status traits are related to BE, while solidarity traits are related to GAE, and same as the finding in the present study. While in FAN 2020, both GAE holds the status and solidarity traits, meaning that the PE is actually a lesser form of accent. Now, in terms of ease of understanding, clarity, that is, GAE dominates BE by a significant amount in the mean score of 4.35 compared to the mean of 3.81 in BE. The same could also be observed in the ease of imitation section where GAE also outperforms BE with a mean score of 3.68 compared to the mean score of BE, which is 2.94. This could be inferred as GAE to be a more superior accent in terms of ease of understanding and imitation compared to BE for Indonesian EFL learners. Within the research, a small question section is also inserted as general knowledge checking to verify students' familiarity with the studied accent. The question is to state each other nationality based on the English they have just heard, the spoken English. More respondents can correctly guess GAE accent, General American accent, in the 85% category, where only a 73% of students could guess British accent in this case correctly. This fact becomes the evidence as their listening ability in distinguishing the accents from the speeches match their self-evaluation of their familiarity with each accent. And this shows too that more participants said that they could understand GAE better and compared to BE, and more participants are able to guess GAE correctly in nationality in this case. Now, as for preferences, 85% of the respondents want GAE speakers to be their English teachers, while only 48% of them feel they want to speak BE as their English teacher. This form of cognitive response would involve the students' actual engagement in studying, attending classes, completing assignments, and actively participating in learning activities. The figure could also be inferred as that Indonesian students are still determined to both study with both of these accents, although GAE is far more uh, favor, favored in this case. Now we reach the conclusion and suggestion. For the conclusion and suggestion, the divergence of preferences between GAE and BE suggests that they have varying motivation and background, and they utilize which variant of English language would they use as a medium of international communication as a preferences. And in status traits, which are often referred to with prestige and social attractiveness, including professionalism, seriousness, and authoritativeness, are rated in BE speakers, and on the other hand, GAE scores higher in solidarity traits, which focus more on traits including flexibility, clarity, and friendliness. While the divide affect each aspect of accent scoring, the overall mean scores in comprehension still lean more toward GAE, General American English, as the English that is the most understandable and easy to imitate by Indonesian EFL learners. And for the suggestion of the study, a deeper study which delves on the students' more subjective reasoning and justification, such as the case with qualitative study, could be employed to better understand individual justification. And for future research into how both GAE and BE accents affect students' learning should focus on the accent application, meaning that we can get an empirical data based on field research from school or higher education institution in Indonesia. And finally, a larger, more diverse sample could also provide a better representation of the target population and making the future research more valid and reliable for the result. And that basically is all that I can present to you right now. And thank you. Have a good day. And once again, thank you for listening. My name is Putu Gede Angga Maputra. Thank you.